Now, if you are of the younger generation, the name Mary Whitehouse may not mean too much to you. But for those of us who, shall we say, are a little longer in the tooth, we remember her as a formidable woman. Quite what people made of her depended on what side of the fence they sat. For some, she was the passionate campaigner for decency. For others, she was an interfering old busybody, a do-gooder, trying to spoil the newfound freedoms of sex and drugs and rock and roll. However, whatever people made of her, she was certainly consistent. She was without compromise, and she paid the cost. She was pilloried. She was abused, sometimes physically. She received death threats, and on one occasion, when giving a speech, an effigy of her was lowered on a rope. Not nice. But it's interestingly now that her papers and her diaries are being reread, and questions are being asked. Should we reassess Mary Whitehouse and her contribution to society? Top of her list was the campaign against pornography. And indeed, her lobbying of MPs was a significant factor in making the use of children in indecent images an illegal act. Back in 1974, she wrote this: "The young today are more pressurised and exploited than ever before. I'm fighting for their right not to be exploited." And she was rather savvy on another matter too. Speaking a year later in 1975 at a computer industry technology conference, she said this: "May I first share my fear that technology is overstepping itself. It does seem, to the lay mind, that the power of computer technology can reach a point where man is incapable of arresting the forces for which he has released." So was she a campaigner for decency or an interfering old busybody? Was she just another protester, or was she a prophet? And as we look to the future and wonder what kind of world our children, grandchildren, and indeed great-grandchildren will live, the question that's on my mind at least is this: Mary, Mary, were you quite so contrary? I don't know what you reckon, but it's got to be worth a thought. But for now, do take care, stay safe, and thank you for listening.